Okay, so I think we have most of everyone now. Welcome everyone to our latest Startup Care Insight Series online workshop. I am Sabine, Marketing Manager of Startup Care. We're very delighted today to be co-hosting with HeartChat, Hong Kong's first and largest online counseling and coaching platform. So to start with today, Vincent from HeartChat and I will give a very quick introduction to our companies and today's event topic, followed by a panel discussion among our speakers for around 20 minutes. And then everyone will be allocated into a breakout room to have the opportunity to talk with our panelists. Finally, we will end with a mini reporting session and answer any more questions you may have. Yeah. So Startup Care is an insurtech in Hong Kong. We partner with Generali, the global insurer, to design and reinvent group medical insurance for SME founders and their teams, which apart from traditional insurance protection, you may expect, we also focus a lot on leveraging technology to achieve wellness because that's something that we believe in comprehensive health management, which shouldn't just stop at protection. Next slide, please. So in support of Mental Health Awareness Month, we've partnered with Mobile Interactive, founded by Dr. Bashra Saab, to offer all friends and partners a 1 month free trial on top of the usual 2 weeks to experience our mindfulness app, a service that is usually available to our existing members. We really encourage you to, during this stressful period, to take a 10-minute simple meditation each day to distress. An invitation will be sent out to you after the webinar as well. So just don't worry if you cannot catch it right now. And now I would like to pass the time to Vincent to talk a bit about more about HeartChat.
Thank you very much, Sabine. So hi everyone, I'm Vincent. So I'm one of the co-founder and the team leader of HeartChat. So we're very honored to also have Dr. Adrian Low and Randy from HeartChat's team to be here today to be sharing more about how perhaps how corporate can deal with workplace stress and to create a healthier workplace and amongst the employees. So basically what HeartChat does is we are Hong Kong's first pioneering online platform for helping professionals, or licensed counselors and coaches. And we know that for corporate, what they want or what you guys care about for employees' mental health is the fact that you guys want wellness to be measurable. And this is what we're working on. So we leverage heart rate variability technology to provide measurable data trends of your employees to provide a more data-based analysis of basically how our service, our intervention service can improve your employees' mental well-being and performance and productivity. So this is what we do. And in the past, we have already served several startups, and our counselors and coaches are very experienced in providing service to corporate clients. And we're also extensively covered on medias. So yes, so this is what we do. And thank you for the time, Sabine. And may I now pass on the time to Sabine for the housekeeping.
Sure, just a very brief housekeeping. Later you can submit any questions you have in the chat, or you can decide to keep your questions and ask one of our panelists during the breakout session for further more in-depth discussion, and just remind each other to be kind. And yeah. And for today, we will be talking about workplace stress. So in Hong Kong, our unemployment rate unfortunately has already reached the highest of the decade, which is 5.2%. And also a recent survey found that there is a striking 40% of people who worried about related stress. For example, they worry about sales results, increased risk of getting COVID-19 due to work resumption. So with no doubt, team members will continue to face immense stress during this period as the pandemic continues to cause further business closures, pay cuts, and of course, we may be adopting the future trend of working from home, which is not ideal to everyone. So perhaps this crisis would really be a wake-up call for employers to rethink from a healthcare and workplace design perspective. So joining me today, we are very pleased to have 3 mental health experts here as our panelist guests, including Dr. Bashara Saab from Mobile Interactive, Randy Yu, and Dr. Adrian Low from HeartChat. And of course, Vincent, also from HeartChat, will be the moderator of our panel discussion. And yeah, for today, we will address how you yourself can find your inner peace and handle the uncertainties. But equally important would be how you can lead your team with resilience and compassion, and also to serve a greater good. And now I would like to invite Vincent and our speakers to start the panel discussion.
Okay, so maybe I'll stop sharing my screen so everybody can see each other's gorgeous faces. So hi everyone, I'm Vincent, co-founder and team lead of HeartChat, and actually I'm also one of the organizers for Social Entrepreneurs Meetup. So I've been very active in the field of social entrepreneurship and mental health startups. So yes, so that's just a little bit of background about me. So for today's panel discussion, as Sabine has kindly introduced, we have Dr. Bashara, Randy, and Dr. Adrian Low. So Dr. Bashara Saab is the CEO and Chief Scientist of Mobile Interactive, which is a digital therapeutics company that develops and commercializes objectively qualified and clinically validated software to prevent, measure, and treat mental illness. So their exciting app and mindfulness, as introduced by Sabine before, is actually the first ever resilient app to outperform placebo in clinical trials, right? This is very, very exciting as a matter of fact. So Dr. Saab, also as the former principal investigator of neuroscience at Zurich Psychiatric Hospital and the chief scientist of Mobile Interactive, he has published over 30 peer-reviewed papers with more than 1,200 citations in scientific literature. So his research expertise lies in understanding neural circuits and neurotransmitter system, critical for curiosity, especially how curiosity is linked to learning efficiency, meditation, stress, and overall mental health and performance. So we also have Randy Yu. So Randy Yu is a co-founder and head counselor of HeartChat and Holistic Wellness of Hong Kong. So she has been in the helping profession for more than 15 years. So owing to the deep interest in exploring human behaviors, emotions, and social activities, she got a wide scope of training from mental health, counseling, NLP, mindfulness at work, meditation, MBSR, spirituality, and she's generally a very experienced health coach. And she's also living a very healthy lifestyle. So if you want to know more about that, please feel free to maybe have a chat with her later in the chat room. So for Dr. Adrian Low, he is the co-founder and head psychologist of HeartChat. And as a chartered psychologist, he graduated with a Doctor of Clinical and Industrial Organizational Psychology from California Southern University in the USA. He also holds a master's degree in education from Chinese University of Hong Kong. So very excitingly, his workplace stress research has won the Presidential Award for Doctoral Research Excellence at California Southern University. And since then, he has been invited to be a keynote speaker in many, many conferences worldwide. So he's also the president of Hong Kong Association of Psychology. And also he's a faculty member at the University of Worcester and also an adjunct lecturer at Hong Kong School of Professional and Continuing Education. So yes, again, may I welcome the three very experienced and exciting panelists who joined the discussion today. So with that, so I think we can begin our panel discussion now. So our first speaker would be Dr. Sapp. So actually, I have a few questions to ask Dr. Sapp. Maybe you can share more about your experience. So basically from your neuroscience background and experience working for Mobile, which has created mindfulness. So what do you think about the role of technology in advancing employees' mental well-being? And for example, I don't know, strengthening their stress resilience and emotional intelligence. So what sort of role do they play?
Well, I mean, technology greases so many wheels. I think one of the greatest things about technology today is the accessibility of knowledge. A lot of that knowledge comes in the form of new understandings in neuroscience. And the whole premise behind Mobile Interactive is really translating our understanding of neuroscience, particularly something we call therapeutic neural activity, just essentially thinking that's healthy, by way of how it trains the brain, and delivering that in an accessible way. And of course, with something like a smartphone, you have a camera that can be leveraged to get heart rate variability, as you mentioned earlier, which is a really nice inverse proxy of stress. You have internet access, around the world. Soon we'll have global internet coverage around the world, so you can deliver these tools to people. And then, of course, the phone can also deliver audio recordings and video and other types of stimulation, let's say, in order to get the thought patterns going. So it's technology helps at every single level, I think. But it's really about translating our knowledge through technology, which matters.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that for the use of technology, it can be beneficial, but it can potentially be perhaps harmful, or maybe would you say there's a possibility that we might have opened the Pandora's box if we sort of if we are not using it so carefully?
Yeah, I think in both cases, knowledge and technology are not inherently good or evil. It's what you do with knowledge and technology which makes it good or evil. And that's a big reason why I actually left academia and joined business, because the scientists and the engineers, these are the ones that create knowledge and create technology. But the people who decide how it's translated and what effect that it has on the universe, these are the businessmen and the politicians. So I decided, well, I'd rather be a businessman than a politician.
Yeah. So how do you think would be the biggest challenge for you from leaving the academia or the academic circle to creating positive impact as a businessman or as a politician?
I mean, one of the biggest challenges is the uncertainty. Academia, at least at the stage where I got to, is a very certain career, good salary, lots of respect, freedom, all this wonderful stuff. And giving that up to a startup, it was quite tough. And honestly speaking, the only thing that made it possible was a very strong meditation habit, and the stress resilience that comes along with mindfulness training.
Can you tell us more about your meditation mindfulness practice, and perhaps maybe has there been any sort of element of curiosity, because you have been emphasizing a lot from your previous exposure and your previous research that curiosity actually helps a lot in learning efficiency and dealing with stress and improving overall mental health and performance. So what's your experience, personal experience, like maybe personal or academic experience with curiosity, with mindfulness and meditation?
Yeah, so my research in curiosity was really an accident. When I was doing my PhD in Toronto at Mount Sinai Hospital, I was really investigating learning and memory in some model organisms. And I made some genetic modifications, and to shorten it down, by accident, we discovered that along with having increased plasticity and increased ability to form memories, the genetic modifications were also causing an increase in the drive to explore. And so we did a bunch of follow-up experiments to verify this. And then that really launched my whole academic career in the understanding of curiosity at the level of neural circuits and neurotransmitters. And then, I was really thinking about, well, how can I really start to translate this stuff? Because we found out that also if we hijack the circuitry underlying curiosity and stimulate it directly, with direct stimulation of the brain itself and experiment with the animals, we could do things like reverse the cognitive deficits that are caused by repeated seizures, for example, and also alleviate some of the symptoms associated with increased levels of stress. And so you get some depressive symptoms in the experiment animals, and increasing the curiosity actually was able to help some of their social interactions as well. And I was thinking, well, how can I translate this to humans? Because I can't go in and directly stimulate people's brains. And it occurred to me that a big component of a mindfulness meditation practice is fostering your curiosity. Because if you're going to spend 20 minutes focusing on the air that's passing over your lips or some other type of body meditation, you have to become curious about it. You have to really enhance your ability to be curious. And so that's a way so meditation is actually a really strong way. Certain types of meditation are a really strong way of activating the neural circuits in your brain that give rise to curiosity. And that also has a huge number of benefits, as my research has demonstrated, and other research of others as well, of course.
Amazing. So building on the topic of curiosity, do you have any practical tips or giveaway regarding how corporate can do like a curiosity-friendly workplace?
Yeah, absolutely. So a whole other side of my research was examining not what stimulates curiosity, but what suppresses it.
Right.
And not surprisingly, one of the big things that suppresses curiosity is fear. Right. So if you're, it doesn't matter how curious you are about something, if you're afraid to ask, you don't ask. So that's one very basic thing. Make sure people feel comfortable to express their curiosity and ask questions. And the other thing I think is very easy to implement, if you remember, is that you form memories much more strongly and much more readily if you have some curiosity about what you're starting to form memory about. And because of that, if you allow people to, like if you're in a meeting or something and you allow your employees or your fellow colleagues to drive the discussion according to what they're curious about and have them ask questions, then you're already getting the pathways involved in memory formation up and running. So it's a really good way to help people learn and to remember what has happened by allowing them to drive the discussion towards things that are interesting for them.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to perhaps give a new interpretation of the word curiosity, because maybe in the past, curiosity has some sort of a neutral sense of meaning, in the way that people do not necessarily think it is very negative, but that they don't think it's very productive either. So perhaps I really appreciate the fact that, Dr. Steph, you think curiosity is something that we can work on, something that is so fundamental in us that we can leverage or to work to improve our mental well-being and perhaps to have a better work life and general life. I think it's a very interesting finding. Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing. So next, may I please ask Randy to share more about your experience in meditation, mindfulness practice. Maybe you can also respond to Dr. Steph's practice on meditation, see so to give some additional tips on meditation and mindfulness training. So first of all, welcome Randy again. So can I ask you a question? So basically, for individual employees, so in a corporate setting, what are the advantages of them being mindful and being compassionate at work? Sorry, Randy, I might have to unmute you, sorry. All right, it's done. Oops.
All right, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, yep, thank you, Vincent. Thank you for Dr. Steph. Yeah, I'm totally agree with Dr. Steph that under the COVID-19, in fact, we are under the fear and the collective fear that prohibit our yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
That really prohibited our curiosity. And in fact, under such situation, we are from routine to impermanence. That means that what we are doing, our leader under stress and uncertainty, and our head down to all the people that is just busy meeting, operation, and that kind of issue that really experiencing our own underlying fear and our own vulnerability we want to control, that in fact may kill our curiosity. And in the same level of the company level, because of the collective fear that make us inability to work, or that threaten the consequences of the organization, that cannot make the team to unleash their creativities and innovative idea, so that we can merge to the healthy side to order. So that is the very important or bad influence for us. Yeah.
So would you say whether you have any practical tips in so this question is actually very similar to the question I asked Dr. Saab about. So he mentioned that in order to promote or create a curiosity-friendly environment, there has to be an element that to prevent the creation of fear. So in other words, fear is something that is very detrimental to curiosity, to meditation, to mindfulness. So what is your opinion on that? And apart from that, apart from the notion of fear prevention, is there any other tips that you can provide to our participants today in creating a better, a more mindful, or a more compassionate workplace?
Oh, well, go back to the slide one more.
Yeah? Okay.
We can take a step back to practice a deep breath, just like mindfulness. When we take the deep breath to engage ourselves with intentional breathing, the deep breathing slow our heart rate and we restore our body to a calmer and composed state. And that can help us to uncover and integrate what our feeling inside. So when we can feel our feelings and recognize and regulate and embrace our emotion and try to name them one by one, so we can understand ourselves more. So when we understand ourselves more as a compassionate leader, we can let our own natural human response to crisis and closer them. Then we have the empathy to hold others' feeling. So when we have the ability to welcome other people to come to us, so that we can lead others. So to exercise our leadership better.
So I actually have a really perhaps beginner's question for you. So surely we all know how to breathe. We all know how to breathe deeply. But how would you recommend us to actually breathe mindfully for the purpose of relaxing, for the purpose of having all those benefits that you have mentioned? How do you do so?
Okay, so in terms of technology, we can follow the Dr. Stapp, his apps. And in fact, first, I think from attitude perspective, we have to set our intention, because intention is what we know. Practicing mindfulness is good for me, and it can help me in long term in mentally healthy, and also can calm ourselves. And so this is the first thing, we set the intention that we need to do that. So it go to the next pages for in my then one more.
Okay.
So
sorry, this one.
This one. So we set the intention and know that this is good for me, and then we take it as a habit. We do that every day. When we do that, we have no expectation to, it's the best expectation, because we are all in the new beginner with curiosity and understanding of what is practicing is just the new beginner. So we do that every day. is the golden key. Yeah.
Right. So it is the intention to do something that we've been doing, but with more gratitude, with more mindfulness, with more observation and acceptance.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. Maybe for those people who got assigned to Randy's breakout session later, maybe should want to do a practical meditation session with you guys. Who knows? So yeah, let us all look forward to that. So thank you again, Randy. Then let's go to Dr. Adrian Lowe. So Dr. Lowe, I have a few questions for you regarding especially your workplace stress research, which has won you the Presidential Award for Doctoral Research Excellence at California Southern University. Can you tell us more about what it is actually, and what's your biggest takeaway, your biggest findings of it for the purpose of workplace wellness?
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Yes. What a privilege, to be able to share my doctoral research findings over here. So I think it was in 2017. I remember that I started off the doctoral research, and to me, I would say that I'm probably one of the pioneers, to bring quantitative and scientific research into the corporations. And because not many psychologists actually do this, because historically, if you talk about stress, many psychologists or researchers, they use the traditional and historical pen-filling questionnaires, which is really pretty much subjective. And if you're looking at the corporate environment, lots of questionnaires that's filled up by employees, they maybe, have a tendency, to not putting the real state of the perceived stress into the answers. So that's what triggered me, to really bring objective measurements, into the corporate environment. And what happened was, at that time I was stumbled into this heart rate variability, and heart rate variability is known as one of the primary biomarkers of overall health. And what's heart rate variability, just for the benefit of the listeners here? So heart rate variability is simply a measure of the variation in time in between each of our heartbeat. And we talk about this variation, that the more variance there are, the healthier a person. So it's actually one of the part of the nervous system called the autonomic nervous systems, which helps to regulate, our heart rate, our blood pressure, our breathing, and even our digestion, when we consume our food. So in autonomic nervous system, there are actually two parts. One is what we call the sympathetic and parasympathetic, also known as the fight or flight, or the relaxational response, then, which is what Randy has talked about in mindfulness, how he can, restore a person's back to his homeostatic state. So, so I think one of the biggest takeaway in my research was the fact that I took the pulse data from close to 90 employees in a big corporation, and I think what's insightful for me was not only the findings that we found, but the biggest takeaway was the motivation, to see the employees feeling better, at the end of the research, because for them, they see the heart rate patterns appearing in the screen. So in a way, they're actually seeing it visually, right? So, and I think this is a game changer. It's a game changer for people who are resistant to making changes. So I think in the past, psychologists have to do lots of motivational interviewing, lots of time just to motivate them to make changes in the behaviors and the thoughts. But I think what's really cool here is now the fact that they're able to see their own autonomic nervous system coming up in the screens, and by applying some of the interventional methods like what Randy is sharing, mindfulness, right? They can see for themselves how their physiology having positive changes, just by doing the intervention with the devices, right? So I think these are the three big takeaways which I got out of the research.
Mm-hmm. So from your research and from your experience with the research that has actually initiated or actually helped you in creating your employee wellness program with HeartChat? And how would you say, can you tell us more about how the fact that such result for corporate clients is measurable, how can it actually benefit them? So why do they want it to be measurable?
I think one of the triggering factors why we want to do like an EAP 2.0 over here, we call it Employee Wellness Program, is that the current employee assistance program out there, I would say it's a flaw. It's a flaw because not many employees are willing, to actually avail themselves, to see a counselor or a psychologist. And again, one of the reasons probably because they are afraid, to expose themselves too much. And I think we need a more proactive approach where we as the practitioners or the experts, we go into the corporations, and get objective data and do objective testing, on the employees. So instead of we trying to get answers, from the staff verbally, right? But now we do have the scientific measurements, as what the Dr. Saber has said, that we can use scientific measurements, to actually extract the data. And Harvard variability is definitely one of the ways, to measure them. So we can do very exciting things like pre-test and post-test, right? So when we do pre-test, we get the initial data from the employees, and once we have the data, we can analyze, what's their current state of health. And that's where, as what Randy has mentioned, we can do mindfulness, interventions. And after that, we can do post-test. And it's the pre and post-test where we can, compare the data and to see whether there is positive shifts in their physiological aspects.
Thank you very much. I think it's very exciting that nowadays wellness, with the help of technology, is becoming more and more transparent and more data-based for employees and for corporate. So for the last question, this will be a question that's open to all three panels. So basically, I have already asked Dr. Sal a little bit about it, but what do you think would be the role of technology? For example, AI, machine learning, data science, in the future for corporate well-being? So this, I know, is a very general question, but I believe that would allow you, the three of you, to give the biggest insight. Yes, I'll mute all of you then. So if any one of you have any insight regarding how we can, how would it, so basically this question, the gist of this question is to look forward for the future. So what would happen in the future? What would be the prediction of, what would be your prediction of technology, AI, machine learning's role in fostering corporate wellness?
Well, one thing which we're pursuing directly, and we haven't achieved yet, but we think we will, is certainly a better and better ability to objectively quantify how people are doing. So heart rate variability is a pretty decent proxy for cognitive stress, because you can look at the balance within the autonomic nervous system, and that's the primary determinant for how stressed you feel.
Yeah.
But stress isn't always bad, right? You can have stress, and that can be a great thing. It can increase your performance. So I think technology is really going to allow us to peer into the brain without using with using things like the phone, but there's even now a portable fMRI, right? So you can actually get a magnetic resonance imaging scan of your head with a machine that costs about $50,000, which isn't that much. So you can imagine some employers might even stick that in their office as a way to understand their employees, hopefully in an anonymous way. So I really think our ability to objectively understand how people are doing will increase a lot. And then that's going to have a huge impact on our ability to personalize the type of therapy or performance enhancement content that they're provided, whether it's meditation or art therapy or guitar lessons or whatever it happens to be for that individual.
Yes, Randy first, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. For me, my understanding for using the apps or AI or any technology from a corporate perspective, this is a very good way to treasure our human access, because we know that human, HR or employee is the access of a company. If a company using any kind of apps to help and to encourage employee to commit into the practice of mindfulness, that can help to alleviate mental illness, and also from long term, it can help the company to reduce the costing in medical expenses, and in long term, it can help in the social CSR, the social corporate responsibility. That in fact, from the global perspective, that can help to build the holistic well-being of a person that benefits in turn to the corporate itself. Yeah, this is my opinion.
Right, and for me, I feel that the use of technology actually can help to increase the healthcare professionals' capabilities, in terms of endorsing or enhancing one's intervention protocols, right? At the same time, the patient or the clients can access, these technology, in order a way to keep track of their quality of life, and as a way of a preventive measurement, preventive measurements of any upcoming challenges, and it probably will save lots of lives, I would say. So I think it's so important right now that to tap into the technology, and as discussed just now, I heard that technology is neutral, right? If it's neither evil or good, but if we use it in the right perspective, I think it's gonna be a blessing to many.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so thank you very much for all of your input. I think it's very exciting to know that technology can actually be very, very beneficial for corporate wellness and for employees empowerment in the future. The key question is just how we do it, how we execute it, and we know how we do that. It's just a matter of time when we can make it into more beneficial to the world. So thank you very much. This is the first part of the panel discussion. And for the second part, very, very excitingly, we'll have breakout room sessions where each of you will have the chance to talk more about the practical aspect of how in the field of HR, in the field of SME, how you guys can how you guys can actually create a better, healthier workplace for your employees. So I think in the breakout room session, we will be focusing on the practicality and the tips of how you guys can do it immediately. So with that in mind, as I'm also the technician, so please bear with me for 10 seconds. I'll assign you guys into different groups.
I just want to thank you everyone for joining this session. I think it is extremely useful to see actually how as leaders at our corporate environment to build resilience, and what are the useful ways to actually help yourself before then you can influence your team and to tackle their stress. And also we've explored how technology is going to influence mental health and how corporates may be able to use technology in the future to personalize the mindfulness sessions or the treatment they need. And I just want to thank you everyone again for attending. And after the session today, we will be sharing the follow-up email with you guys with a recap on today's event and also a video recording of today's session. And I hope everyone has enjoyed. so far. Yeah. So have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So we'll follow up. And yeah, have a good day, everyone.
Same to you.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for organizing. This was great. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.